Teaching in Dubai and the UAE comes with so many incredible benefits. This video is going to explore the various benefits that you get as a teacher here in the UAE, coming from a teacher who taught there for 6 years. So I want to support you with the process of everything you need to know, what you should be seeing when you look at the job descriptions on platforms like TEFs. And if you're interested in the process of getting your first teaching job, you've come to the right place. My website, Teachtraveltriumph.com, is packed with all sorts of free information and also has a couple of different guides to support you with the process too that have been used by thousands of teachers, which is crazy. So, teaching in Dubai benefits. The first one, let's address the big elephant in the room. Tax-free salary. That is the big one. That is the obvious one that people think of when they think of teaching in the Middle East in general. You keep 100% of the money that you are paid by your employer, and therefore it is a lot easier to plan. It's also beneficial because you then know where you stand with your income too. It is worth noting that there is a 5% VAT, value added tax, to items that you purchase in the UAE. However, you won't really notice that because it's often much cheaper than in the UK anyway. So that is perhaps the big headline thing. So I thought I would start with it. Next is housing/allowance. What you will notice with this is that often the tax-free salary is lower than the UK. However, the housing/allowance, taking a big portion of your expenditure out, means that you're able to save more money as a result, as long as you're sensible in certain areas and don't get lost in the Dubai life, which is very, very easy. The housing and allowance, the way it works is that there's two ways that it'll work. Either the school will put you up in accommodation of some sort. That typically means that your larger school groups, your Kings, your Gems, your Innoventures, your Talim, they have large amounts of accommodation that they pay for, and therefore they put teachers in there, typically for the first couple of years. From there, it's up to you whether you want that flexibility to move somewhere else, and you can take an allowance. Some schools only have an allowance, so it amalgamates into the wage that you get. And as a result of that, you have that kind of flexibility to go and choose your own accommodation using that allowance. However, big however, you also have the stress of rent and the rising costs of rent too. So security, take the housing, flexibility, the allowance. But those are the two that you should be sitting. The third one that you should see is health insurance. Health insurance is a must. It's a legal requirement that schools should give you when you are getting a teaching job in the UAE. However, big however, the levels and the packages that certain schools offer are sometimes not as strong as others. Often you're pretty secure with the big school groups, but there are certain health insurances that don't cover certain hospitals, the mainstream hospitals that most, let's say, UK expats go to. On top of that, depending on the cover, you might get stung by the copay element. The copay means that, let's say you're an outpatient, meaning you just simply go in for some treatment. You're not stopping there overnight. You go for an x-ray and something else. You would then pay 20%, but capped typically at a certain rate. But some health insurances don't have that cap in place, which simply means that you have to pay a little bit extra. These are the types of things that you need to be talking about and asking, not as part of your interviews, but as part of the negotiation process and discussions that you've had once you've got your job. Again, it is something that I talk about because I think it's one of the most important things. Alongside that, only one of my years during my time teaching in the UAE did I have dental insurance. For, you know, regular checkups and stuff like that. You're still out there. So as a result, that was paid for by myself. It's very expensive. Optics, got away with it, but I also didn't have that covered except for 1 year. In the 1 year that I had dental insurance, you best believe I used it. Otherwise, I had to go and, you know, pay for that myself. A lot of different dentists, they were like, well, you don't have dental insurances because a lot of the employers, often do. I didn't. So what ended up happening was that sometimes the dentist would be, you know, a little bit more supportive and maybe knock some discounts off, etc. You can pay for different plans, but again, these are the types of things you need to be asking about. I think it's really crucial to have those types of discussions. Flight allowance is A typical one you will see on every single contract, they don't have to, but they do have like kind of responsibility to bring you over and send you back. Typically, with the flight allowances, if you're leaving a school, they only pay you half the flight allowance because you're going. But in a year, they'll give you X amount of money that goes towards flights. Some schools will just simply pay for your flight. When I first got my teaching job in the UAE, I sent over the flights that I wanted to take to come to the UAE. They just kind of sorted it. Other schools will just give you an amount of money at a designated point. That's known as your flight allowance. How you use that, it's typically up to you. Some schools will be like, give us a receipt for that. In fact, it's worth noting with your housing allowance as well. Some schools are quite strict on it and want to see, your contract and bits and pieces like that. So that's worth noting. I was pretty privileged with the school that I was in, and it was a little bit more flexible. Next is a really interesting one, and that is gratuity. Gratuity is something that is paid at the end of the service. So, like I mentioned, I taught out in the UAE for 6 years, and a lot of people see this as a pension. Don't see it as a pension. See it as a little cheeky bonus at the end of your service, because your pension is matched by your employer, and you get, additional benefits from your pensions are better than gratuity. Gratuity, the way it works, it's based on your amount of service. So it's typically 21 days for your first 5 years of service. But a lot of schools will break this into a 50-50 split. The reason they do this is they'll pull 50% your pay and 50% allowances. That means that your gratuity is based on your pay, so it's only based on 50% of your salary. So, although it sounds good, and it's like, 21 days, like a whole month nearly of pay, it's like 50% of the whole year of month. In fact, it's 3 weeks of that month. So it's 3/4 of 50% of your pay. So let's say your pay is 10,000 dirhams a month. So that's £2,000. You would then be getting £750-ish of your overall per year. So obviously during 5 years, I'm really testing my maths here. £3,750 would be your overall gratuity at the end. Again, good as a bonus, especially because they'll be paying your end of service alongside your July and August wage. However, it's not a pension, and you want to use that money when you come back. Lots of people are like, yeah, buy a car. I personally think that should be invested money, but some other advice. You don't have to listen to my advice. That's the best thing about YouTube videos. The only advice you need to listen to. So, I'll stop it. Okay, so from there, we've got one that's interesting, and that is MIMO, or a moving in, moving out allowance. This is rare now. I'm going to be completely honest. You very rarely see this in schools. The way this works is it's a lump sum amount that's given to you once you move. This was amazing for me because I moved out with very little money as an RQT, and then the school went, here is your moving in, moving out allowance. So both at the same time. I was like, what about moving out? Not moving out yet. And they were like, yeah, just have that. And it was brilliant because it meant I could pay for my furniture, it really helped with my deposits and things like that. And they know that. That was a great little bonus. Again, a very rare bonus now. But it was one that I got in the first year. I don't think my school does that anymore. I don't think a lot of schools do that anymore. But again, I'll put it on there because it can be a benefit. Then we kind of come to some of I'll put one more on there. And that is visas. If you're moving solo, they're obviously going to pay for your visa. Schools will. Sometimes if you have family, they will pay for certain family members' visas as well, or part of the family members' visas. I think there was one school that, would pay for 2 children, and that was part and parcel of it. Nowadays, because school budgets are a little bit tighter in the UAE, parents often have to pay a portion or all of the visa costs, and as a result, the child's health insurance, which again is another thing to consider. Children then are more likely to use that health insurance, so as a result, it becomes a little bit more expensive again. I'm just showcasing my experience during the 6 years that I was there. Some wishy-washy benefits now. I'm not going to bother writing them down, but the smaller class sizes, typically because you're teaching in an international school, the smaller class sizes are a thing. Parents pay a lot of money for private fees, and as a result expect high quality education. One of the best ways to do that is to have smaller class sizes. Not all schools are like that, but where it does happen, I've had classes that were 24. 24 is still amazing compared to the UK where it's 30. I've had classes right the way down to 16. And if you can imagine there's like a school trip or a couple of kids aren't in for whatever reason, suddenly you're at like 14 kids. That's like 2 groups in the UK. So that is definitely a benefit. And as a result means that your well-being's a little bit better, you're marking your books all right, you're getting through that. Sometimes you can even be a little bit lazy with things and be like, oh, it's fine, I've not got that much to do. And before you know it, end up with the same amount of work because you can become complacent. That is the word to use. So that's something to be aware of. The resources in schools, well-resourced schools, typically the newer a school is, the more resourced it's going to be. You will find, especially when it comes to technology, the technology resources are fantastic. Most international schools have, one-to-one devices of some sort, whether it's an iPad or a Chromebook or something. And as a result, I feel like for my own CPD, perhaps that's a bit more why I'm a bit more, technological with things nowadays. Lifestyle, you could say, and that you're not going to see lifestyle on the contract, but your lifestyle is definitely, there are the benefits. I would say that kind of fits more into the category of pros and cons. I've made loads of videos both about the teaching pros and cons and the lifestyle pros and cons, along with some of the myths. That's all available on my channel too. The other one that I do think is a benefit, again, it's not going to be advertised on a school application form, you might find it on a recruitment website, is the location. Let me get me little my globe, right? You're in the UK up here. You're able to go to these places. So, you've got Europe. Woohoo! You can go to Europe. You might stretch and go to the UAE on a 7-hour flight. If you're here in the UAE, suddenly your options open up. But also because all of the international flights coming from Emirates, they do long haul, short haul, something in between haul. You've got India as a cheap location, Sri Lanka as a cheap location. Those would be expensive holidays from the UK. Obviously, you've got all of Southeast Asia around here as well. Lots of people go to Japan from the UAE. The longer flight then from there is obviously the USA, but people do it. It is a thing. People don't typically go to South America during the holidays though, but you've got all of the Middle East that you can go to, parts of Africa down here. Again, you can do a flight from the UK down to South Africa, but a better flight is to go from Dubai to South Africa. It's a little bit shorter and a little bit cheaper as a result. You won't find location on the application forms, but that's probably one of my biggest benefits to teaching in the UAE. As I mentioned, there is loads of information to support you with the process of moving to and getting your first teaching job in the UAE on my website, teachtraveltriumph.com, in these guides, and in fact on my blogs too. If you want to go and see more videos about teaching in the UAE, I've made so many videos at this point about the process. So feel free to just go through the playlist and check those out too. I'll see you in a future video. Until then, I'm out.